Hi, Christine Faulkner here, Elk Grove's estate planning attorney. And today I want to talk about what is it that makes people think about, do I need an estate plan or not? Or when in my life do I need to start thinking about putting something in place? So I would say, honestly, there's a bunch of different parts about estate planning or let's say documents that I put together. And I really like to shift the focus away from documents because that's not my primary role in working with people. You can put documents together on your own online. People seek the advice of an attorney and want to work with an attorney because of their expertise in the field. So I'd like to say that number one. Number two, one of the key areas of planning that I do for people is incapacity planning, and that would be a power of attorney, an advanced health care directive, a HIPAA release. And those documents are something that are really necessary to put in place the minute you turn 18, believe it or not. The minute you become a legal adult, your parents are no longer legally or financially responsible for you, or turning the tables if you have adult children. You cannot help them legally or financially or medically because they're now adults. So when my children turn 18, I put these documents in place for them because I knew that I couldn't step in for them if they ever really needed me. So that's something to think about, number one, when you turn 18, putting incapacity planning in place. That way you avoid having family have to go to court to become your guardian. Here's something else to think about if you have children. The minute you have children, and I know when my sons were born, I was worried all the time. Maybe that's a mom thing, but I was worried all the time about what would happen to them if something happened to me and their dad. I milled that over in my head an awful lot, and I'm certain that there are probably parents who worry about those things as well. So if you have children, think about that. Think about whether you want to be able to choose the guardians for your children if something were to happen to you, or something were to happen to you and your spouse or your significant other, or whether you would want the court making that decision for you. Those are really, really deep considerations and not something you need to jump right on board with, but definitely something you want to start thinking about and how that feels inside to you if you couldn't choose. I know that many of the clients I work with tell me they have wonderful, amazing people in their life that they would never want raising their kids, and that may or may not be true for you as well. Here's the other thing. When you start acquiring assets, especially titled assets that are worth more than $150,000 or $166,000 now, you need to start thinking about putting a plan in place that's going to protect you from, or your assets and your family from, ending up in probate court. I won't go into any more detail about that on this video, but those are 3 times in your life that thinking about putting a plan in place and why you might need to do that would be important considerations. As always, thanks so much for tuning in to Keeping Up with Christine, and I'll check in with you next week.